Welcome. We've got day 2. Our goal today, given a quadratic equation, you will be able to find the roots by graphing and looking at a table of values. Just like yesterday, you are definitely going to need your handy-dandy calculator. All right, so let's take a look. We are finding the roots by graphing and looking at a table. So let's talk a little bit about, well, what are the roots of a quadratic equation? So we know a parabola looks like a U. The roots are where the parabola crosses the x-axis. All right, so if I take a look at this parabola, it has 2 roots because it touches the x-axis twice. If I look at this parabola, it crosses the x-axis only at one point, so there's only one root. And if I look up here at this parabola, does this parabola even intersect the x-axis? No, so this would have 0 roots. All right, so the roots of a parabola are located where the parabola crosses the x-axis. In a table of values, it occurs when the y value is equal to 0. That is why the roots are also known as the zeros. So you might hear the roots called the zeros. Now, solving for the roots algebraically, this is something we're going to learn in a couple of units. So right now, we're just going to cross that out. All right, so let's go ahead and let's try our very first example. Here, we're going to solve for the roots by graphing. So, number 1, find the roots, or we could call them the zeros, of the following equation. X equals negative x squared minus 4x. All right, so let's take a look here. First thing we have to do is decide our A, our B, and our C. So the A value is in front of the x squared. So here I see it's negative x squared, so it's a negative 1. My B value is in front of the x, so here's the x, so it's negative 4. And my C value, well, there is no constant, so that is a 0. So next, my axes of symmetry, x equals negative b all over 2a. So now when I type it in, I'm going to put in a negative 4 all over 2 times negative 1. So then I get a positive 4 over negative 2, which then gives us a negative 2. So this is my axis of symmetry. So I take this and we put it in the middle of our grid. And then I need to go at least 3 values below. Oops, so that would be negative 3, negative 4, negative 5. And then we're going to go 3 values above, negative 1, 0, 1. Okay, now I'm going to let the calculator do the work for me, so I'm going to go to y equals. I am going to type in my equation, so negative x squared minus 4x. All right, and then I'm going to go to my table, and I want to fill in these values. So I'm going to have to go up to negative 5. So negative 5, negative 5, negative 4, 0, negative 3, 3, negative 2, 4, negative 1, 3, 0, and negative 5. Okay, now it did say we needed to solve graphically, so let's go ahead now. We're going to plot our points, negative 5, 5, 0, negative 3, 3, and then we go back down. And remember, when you graph your parabola, we do have to connect all the points, but we also have to extend all the way to the bottom of the graph, and then label at one of the arrows. Okay, so now we have to find the roots. So the roots are where they cross the x-axis. So here's my x-axis. So this one has 2 roots, here and here. And those roots would be negative 4, 0, and 0, 0. Now, we could have done this without even looking at the graph, because I would just look at my table of values, and you want to know where is your y 0. So that means it's going up and down 0, so it's right on the x-axis. So here, this would be a root because the y is 0, and this would be a root because your y value is 0. All right, let's go ahead, let's flip it over, and let's practice finding the roots a little bit more. Okay, I'd like you to go ahead and, or actually, I'll do this one with you again. So let's get started together. So let's find our A, our B, and our C. So here our A is 1, our B is -1, and our C is -6. So now when I type this in to my axis of symmetry, x equals -b over 2a. So then I get -1, oops, sorry, -1. So -1 all over 2a, so 2 times 1. Now a -1 is a +1 divided by 2 gives us a +0.5. So I'm going to go to my table of values and I'm going to put 0.5 in the middle. I still need to go 3 above and 3 below. So what's the nearest integer for 0.5? So if we want to go towards the negatives, it would be 0, -1, -2. To go above it, it would then be +1, +2, +3. And now we can go to our table of values. So x squared minus x minus 6. And I go to my table of values. All right, so -2, I see we get 0. -1 is -4. 0 is -6. Now careful, there's no 0.5 there, so 1 is -6. -4 and 0. Now to find that vertex, I hit graph. Oh, my graphs here are a little off from yesterday's lesson, so I hit zoom 6. Okay, and I can see that this graph is going to have a minimum value. So I'm going to go second, calculate minimum. Go to the left, hit enter. Go to the right, hit enter. Go to the middle, hit enter. So there we go. So my turning point is 0.5, -6.25. Okay, now we can go ahead and graph. So -2, 0. -1, 1, 2, 3, 4. 0, -6. 0.5, so this is going to be like in the middle of the box. 1 is -6, 2 is -4. 3 is going to be 0. Okay, so now we're going to connect all those dots. And remember, this goes all the way up. So don't stop too early. And then we get y is equal to x squared minus x minus 6. So now this question said state the roots. So the roots, again, we're going to look, are here and here. So if we look carefully, that is going to be the point -2, 0 and 3, 0. Now we also could have looked right at the graph and saw that, well, here's a root because the y value is 0, and here's a root because the y value is 0. So hopefully you're starting to kind of see the pattern here that, do we really need to graph, or could we just look at the table of values? Well, we really could just look at the table of values, and that's what we're going to do at our next. So let's go ahead now and let's find the roots by only using the calculator. Okay, so to do that, you're just going to go to y equals, type it in. You're going to hit graph because you need to estimate approximately where the roots are going to be. And then we're going to look at our table of values. So let's go ahead and try this out. So y equals x squared plus 5x minus 14. Hit graph. So are we going to have one root, 2 roots, or 0 roots? Well, here it looks like my parabola went down and then it went up. It's crossing twice. So I'm going to have 2 roots. So now if I look, one of them is going to be in the negatives, one of them's in the positive. So I'm going to go second, table. Okay, so now I need to look for it. Now to show my work, I'm going to show that I looked at my table of values. So I'm looking for my y to be 0. Oh, there it is. Y is 0. So it's -7 and 0. Now one was negative and also one of them was positive. So I'm going to go back, look for my positive. Oop, there it is, 2, 0. So that means my roots are going to be the points -7, 0 and 2, 0. Okay, next up, let's take a look at number 4. So using your calculator, find the roots. So I'm going to go to y equals, clear it out. Now the first thing I'm going to do is go off to the side, and let's go ahead and multiply that out. So long distribution x times x, x squared. X times -2, -2x. -2 times x, -2x. -2 times -2, +4. So x squared minus 4x plus 4. I'm going to take that, put it back in. So y equals x squared minus 4x plus 4. And then I'm going to bring this down, -4. So now what happens when you have a +4 minus 4? These are just going to cancel. X squared minus 4x. So here's my equation. We're now going to type it in. So y equals x squared minus 4x. Okay, let's hit graph. Let's see how many roots are we going to have. We're going to have 2 roots. What I'd like you to do now is go to the table of values, and I'd like you to find your roots on your own. All right, let's take a look. Were you able to get the roots to be 0, 0, and 4, 0? If you did, you've done it correct. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you're struggling with any part of quadratics, please come on in tomorrow morning before school and let me help you out. Have a great night.